as long as that's not part of like who you are. The t-shirt thing in the gym, that's a weird thing that I used to never wear PJ stuff out anywhere at all. Like never. I was just like, I'm not wearing a PJ shirt to the gym. If we're going to work or something, fine or whatever.
Yeah.
But like on the off time, I never did that. I actually have evolved on that a little bit where I'll wear, especially like our shirts, check them out over on onesready.com. But I'll go to the gym, and if it has like the iconic, the icons on, or if it's got our stuff, people actually find something. They'll walk up and like, give you a fist bump or be like, hey, what's up, man? I was in the Army. It's like, oh, okay, cool. As long as that's not part of your id, as long as you're not wrapping that into who you are as a person, but more of like what you did in a shared experience, I think that's valuable.
100%. Dude, like the one thing that I knew and saw was the identity crisis. And I was really fortunate. I have a really good friend, JJ, reached out to me. We're talking a while back. This is a few years now. And he got out when he was in the 82nd. Really successful, beautiful family. We were talking. And it's one of those friendships where you don't talk for a while, but you instantly pick right back up whenever you get a chance to talk. And we got on the topic of transition. And one of the things he did tell me was like, you got to work on the identity. Because I'd be lying if I said that I didn't struggle with it still to this day. I was like, shit. If he's dealing with that, and he got out when he was younger, I know for a fact this is something I need to address. I have to. And I remember looking back and now starting to realize, like, okay, check on some of your older teammates. Like, what are they doing? What worked? What are they doing that for the ones that were able to transition successfully? They all talked about identity. They all talk about finding your true identity. And I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Everything I had was because of SF. Everything I had built, everything, my foundation was on that beret, that Yarborough knife, those deployments, that job. My greatest achievements were all there. And it's like, shit, I got to work on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you start doing the work, when you start trying to learn who you are, because I had to strip it all down. I had to go all the way down to like bare bones and like, why did I even join? Why am I even here? What about me is authentically, truly me?
Who
and
am
doing
I?
That work was like, it was rewarding though, because I was finally able to put attributes and core values to who I was. Because the Army gives you their values. The Army gives you its attributes.
Yeah.
The Army gives all that stuff to you. And then you're sitting there and I imagine myself transitioning and like, okay, here's the values. Here's the
right.
Here's
what
my attributes.
What are my civilian values? What am I supposed to carry? Like, where's my list of core values that I'm supposed to assimilate to?
Exactly.
Jared just sent me a post the other day. I'm not going to put his name out there, even though it's out on the internet, but a pararescue chief that was, highly revered. He was the highest ranking enlisted dude in special warfare at the time. He was telling a story on a different podcast where he got out and within 3 years he was living in a tent down by the river because he just did not have that purpose. Like his ego and his id was so wrapped up into, this job is who I am. Well, if you take that job away, through retirement, through injury, through, just moving on to the next thing, you got a lot of questions to answer and you have to do the work. It can't be this thing where you're like, okay, well, cool. I'm just going to put it in a box and move on. Like that's a big thing. You have to do the work.
Yeah. And it can be extremely rewarding. I never read for my own personal desires. Always read everything for work. And when I started doing the work for figuring out who I am, being able to peel that multi-layered person all the way down to the basics, I'm like, why did I choose SF? Why did I choose being a soldier? What's the hero's journey? A lot of people take it for granted because, higher education, public figures, you have Jordan Peterson talking eloquently about all these things. And it's one thing to hear it from somebody like him who's very articulate, very smart, very passionate. And he's describing all these tenets of what it means to be a man, what it means to be a warrior. And I'm like, well, I'm a warrior and I don't even know these things.
Right.
I'm the man in the arena and I don't even know this stuff. So how do I get it? You go to the source. You don't read the book that was written by the guy that digested it and then wrote about it again. You go out there and you find the beginnings. You read the epics of Gilgamesh. You sit down and you read the Western mythos that develop that concept of what it means to be a freaking hero, what it means to be a service member, what it means to be a warrior. And I sat there just reading. I'm like, okay, now I have some basis understanding as to why this was so appealing to me. That's cool. Now I know why it resonated with me, because I'm a caregiver, I'm a nurturer, I'm a provider, I'm someone that wants to be a defender. Okay. Holy shit. Now I know who I am. Now I know who Denny really is. I want to help others. I want to help protect others. I want to give back and give people hope that you can make it through something. And I look back in my history, my own little timeline of all the moments where I felt really good about being a leader. It was always moments where a paratrooper or somebody that was in charge of said, you know what, man, Sergeant Cab, like, you kept us going. Or like, Chief, man, like, man, fuck, thanks for keeping it going, man. Like, and I realized it's all about being there for the development of others, being able to give back and take care of other people. I'm like, okay, that's who I am. That's who I am at a core. And that wasn't because the Army was instilling that. That was always within me. But being able to identify that, that's the deep work we got to do. That's the shit that's going to make sure that when you transition, when you get out of the military, you don't end up working at a fucking goddamn French toast factory. You don't end up working at a fucking cheese
French toast. Huh?
Wait, is there a French toast factory that I'm missing?
Because I need to be there.
It's a viable industry, Aaron. It's a viable industry.
It is blowing up. French toast is so popular. I knew that Peaches was going to key in on that too, because he is a fat kid. He is hard as woodpecker lips packed into a 5'3" frame, but he loves him some French toast.
Yes,
remember the French toast sticks on deployment? Wow. Imagine right now, there is a soft veteran on that conveyor line, like just struggling with angst of not knowing who they are, just inspecting packages of French toast.
He's just desperately trying to make the French toast sticks crispy, like that one time in Helmand Province when they were the best.
See, and that's what happens when you don't connect the dots and figure out who you are.
Jeez.